What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? We are back for another retro review. This is going to be Falcon Crest Season 1, Episode 2. So I have to go by my notes. Y'all know I don't normally do my notes, but I got my notes here. Okay. So Episode 2 is called A Time for Saboteurs. Okay? So it looks like we've sort of fast forwarded a little bit from the first episode. Chase and his family are all moved in. The house looks like it's all decorated, renovated. They got all their furniture shipped in from New York and stuff. We see Chase and Cole and the Mexican family. They're all out in the fields. It looks like they already have some crops going. Like they look like they have fast forwarded maybe about 6 months even. I don't know. It's almost time for the harvest. So it's almost time. They're almost at the end of the growing season, I guess. Listen. So they're out there on the fields and all of a sudden they see this little plane come by and it cuts real low. And Chase was like, oh, that's probably him right there. So he's got a friend on the way, that kind of thing. So they get down to the airfield, and it's his friend, Paul Jennings. Paul Jennings. Nope. Paul Jennings is the guy that won all the money on Jeopardy. His name is Paul Salinger. Listen. Okay. I wrote his name down. So, Paul and Chase, they've known each other from the military. They were in Vietnam together. Remember, this took place in the early 80s, so they were in Vietnam together. And there seems to be some underlining something there. Like, he's a friend, but he's sort of that friend that everybody know. I don't want to say the word, but probably just ain't shit. You know what I'm saying? Maggie is like, hey, how you doing? But, Maggie kind of got that look like, here you go. He's giving gifts and stuff. And Maggie looking at Chase like, man, look at what he doing. He giving gifts away and stuff. So Maggie had pulled up. She was with Julia and Victoria. They had gone shopping. And so, of course, immediately Maggie and Paul, they making eyes at each other. And he get to flirting with her. And she was like, well, let me get on back. And he was like, where are you going? He was like, I would love for you to stay for lunch. I'm the odd man out. You would help even up the numbers, flirting. So she stays for lunch. And over lunch, he starts telling this like war story about how Chase saved his life and all this stuff. And you can see Chase is very uncomfortable with the conversation. Like he's not comfortable talking about whatever it was that they went through in Vietnam and everything like that. And so, Paul and Chase, they get to talking later on, and Chase tells him, Chase was like, listen, that was just not, first of all, your version of the story is greatly exaggerated. Like, I didn't do all that you said I did. Second of all, I don't really like thinking about that kind of stuff because, I did a lot of drinking to get away from that. I didn't want to think about what I went through. Like, basically, like, stop bringing that shit up, He said, well, Chase, what's up? Me and you, we had this dream of this charter company. Basically, he wanted to start like a small charter company down in like the islands where people could help people hop from island to island or hop back and forth from the United States. Like those little quick flights that a 2-seater plane could do. And Chase was like, Chase said, man, grapes in my life now. Like I gave up the air. Like this is what I'm doing now. And he was like, but he was like, you don't want to do this. Like, this is a hobby. This is a little passing phase. Like, and he said, well, what made you do this anyway? And he was like, listen, I had to get my family together. Like, things were going on. We were moving in different directions. And, I had to get my family back. And so, no, this isn't a phase. This isn't, a fluke. This is something I'm really trying to do. Now, in the meantime, we got Angela up on the hill looking down, trying to figure out who this dude and what's good, because she is not happy about Chase being there at all. And the faster Chase get up and leave, the happier she is. But her mindset is he doesn't know anything about making wine, so he's going to basically end up hurting himself. I just got to wait it out. She playing the long game. Her thing is, I don't want him here. I want him to hurry up and get the hell away. But he don't know what he's doing. He's going to fall flat on his face, and then he's going to be in an even better situation because then I can get it cheaper than what because she's steadily been offering him money to sell him, to buy him out, and he won't take the money. So really her thing is, the longer I wait, the cheaper it gets. But he does notice that Paul and Julia have been hanging out. So her and Lance are having a conversation, and you get the impression that Julia has horrible taste in men. She makes really bad decisions when it comes to men. Because Chance even says something like, well, the kind of car that he drives, and the way he dresses looks like she made a better choice than she normally makes. And Angela was like, well, let me get to know him a little bit better. Now, mind you, this was before the days of Google and all of that. You could just go online and look somebody up. Like, you had to actually, do some research. And you had to, put some people in place. But it don't matter. Angela got them kind of people. Now, she gets a phone call, and come to find out her ex-husband is calling. Her ex-husband owns the local newspaper. And he said, you know what tomorrow would be? And she was like, oh, our anniversary. And you could see that they still flirting. You could tell that he still kind of want him some of that. She has affinity for him, but I think she is over the romance part of it. But he says, well, why don't you, he lives in San Francisco, and they're in the Napa Valley, so it's not that far. He said, why don't you come into the city and have dinner with me on our would-be anniversary? And she was like, okay, no problem. I'll see you tomorrow. So she's going in to have dinner with her ex-hubby, honey. So we also found out that Paul owes some people some big money. Okay, and they are in Napa looking for him, and they want their money. You find out. I wrote the name down. Hold on, let me make sure I did write the person's name down. What was his name? Well, maybe I didn't write his name down. Anyway, maybe I didn't write his name, but just a big time gangster type situation, and. Honey, he done wrote them a check. Now listen, even in 1981, I don't know about writing no checks for no. Well, we found out later it was a gambling debt, but I don't know about writing no checks for no debt to no gangsters. I didn't know they took checks, child. But basically, it seems like he's been dealing with this person for a long time, and his hitmen are like, listen, I really hope you're not playing no games with us, because that wouldn't be good for you. And he was like, no, I'm here. As soon as I get this business started, I'm going to be good. I'm going to be golden. So, he shows up flashing money, driving a nice car, bringing gifts. But at the end of the day, he ain't got no money. He broke. And that's probably why Maggie was giving him that side eye, because Maggie know he ain't got no money. You know what I'm saying? Now, mind you, he is whining and dining. He is romancing Julia. And at first, I thought he was trying to, he was going to try to get the money from Julia. But he was really trying to get to Angela. And, he pivots the conversation to a point where Julia ends up making the suggestion that he wanted her to make anyway, which was, oh, well, you've got this great business idea and this great business plan. Why don't you talk to my grandmother about it? My mother about it. Like, she's always looking for a business opportunity. So he does. He ends up talking to Angela. And he was like, listen, I'm a straight shooter. Let's just go on and cut through the mess. You want Chance gone, and I want Chance to come and do this business with me. So why don't you work with me so we can make it happen? And Angela was like, listen, I would be willing to pay good money if Chance leaves. She ain't say how much. She ain't say what the circumstances. She just said, if you can get Chance to leave, I'll give you the money you need. So of course now he's like, oh, bet, like I can make it happen. Now, while this is going on, she ended up going to San Francisco for her little dinner with her hubby. And you could, like I said, you could tell that there's definitely an affinity there. We'll find out that they have a good relationship throughout the, most of the show. I can't remember the whole show, but I know in the immediate future they have a good relationship. And she was like, can you do me a favor? Well, what she wanted him to do was to look up Paul, because again, he runs a newspaper. He's got those kind of resources that back we didn't have in 1981 to just be like, oh, what's up with so-and-so? And honey, she ends up spending the night. Angela got her little groove on with her ex-hubby, honey. Okay. Also, Julia and Paul are getting real close, honey. They getting real, real. And Maggie tries to warn Julia. Maggie was like, listen, I see you and Paul getting a little close, but I just need to let you know, Paul ain't what he presents as. I just need you to watch your back. And what did Julia do? Julia did what women do when they gonna get, she gonna take it out on Maggie. Now my thing is this, Maggie has known this man for years. She trying to warn you. You should just take heed to what she's saying and not get in your little fifis. But that's what we do as women. We want to get mad because, of course, we're going to make it different. He going to do something different with us that he don't do with every other woman he done been with. It won't be us. Child, bye. So Maggie was like, all right, it's cool, whatever. Let me get on back to the house then. Let me mind my damn business. Now, Maggie and Chase are kind of having a little bit of tension because Maggie is like, listen, why are you doing this? Like, why are you fooling with this dude? You really know he ain't about it. And he's trying to get you to start this crazy company. You just moved us all across country for this crazy scheme. Like, you're not going to keep playing with my emotions, Chase. You're not going to keep having me going all over the place because you're going through a midlife crisis and you having these little whims and you going through this little shit you going through. I'm going to need you to calm it down. I'm going to need you to settle down, and we're not playing these games. And because it seemed like Chase was thinking about it. It really did. It really seemed like, and that's what Paul was saying. Paul was like, listen, Chase misses the air, and I know how to get him there. I know how to basically manipulate him the way I want him to go. And it did seem like for a minute it was working. It did. It seemed like it was working for a minute. So then, excuse me. So then, I'm trying to make sure I got it all together. Okay, so then there was a conversation that Paul had with Julia about, because remember, Julia is, well, we don't know that. Julia is she's like the scientist behind Falcon Crest. She keeps up with the weather, she keeps up with the different mixtures, what'll work together, what won't. Like, she definitely is an asset to Falcon Crest. There's an actual title for what she does. I don't know it, but y'all know what I'm saying. So he was in her laboratory, and she was saying something about too much rain. And he was like, well, I thought rain was good for plants. She said, yeah. She said, but this close to planting season, to harvest, it's not good. If there's too much water, it could create a fungus, which would destroy the crops, blah, 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 booda boom, bada bang. So that night, him and Julia are asleep. He sneaks out of the bed, and he goes and he turns on the irrigation pipes, which basically floods the field, Chase's fields. So they wake up the next morning, they find out the fields are flooded. I want to say Angela got the phone call. So when Angela got the phone call, Julia went down there to help. Maggie went to apologize to Julia. Julia was like, don't even worry about it. Like, it is what it is. We gotta work. And, of course, Chance immediately thought Angela did it to sabotage him. Angela gets a phone call to find out, and she gets the phone call with the background information on Paul, so she knows who he is, what he is, and who he owes all this money to. So he comes up there, and he's like, Paul comes to Angela, he's like, okay, I need my money. She was like, what money? What you talking about? He was like, I took care of Chance. Like, you said, Chase, you said you would give me the money if you... She said, that was you? She said, hold up. And she gets pissed off because, and of course, he's sitting there like, what are you talking about? She was like, a fungus can grow. Like, you didn't just affect Chase's crops. That fungus, that if he does get a fungus, it could spread and it could affect everybody's crops. I'm not paying you nothing because you almost put me out of business. Like, and he's still here. He is down there right now trying to figure out a way to dry out his crops. And come to find out that they were saying if you hover a helicopter over the crops, the wind from the helicopter will dry it out enough. And so that's what they're actually in the process of doing. And Julia's helping them out and all of that. So Angela ends up calling Chase to tell him who it was that did it and why they did it. So of course at first, of course, Julia doesn't want to believe it. Now, Chase does, because Chase knows his friend ain't shit. Julia doesn't want to believe it, because, of course, now she has to accept the fact of what Maggie told her, that this dude ain't shit. She gets upset, and she says, you know what, we did have a conversation, and she said, it's my fault. I told him what to do. And they were like, no, it's not your fault. He came here under false pretenses anyway. Like, he came here on that bullshit. So he didn't get the money from Angela. So now I guess he was like, let me cut my losses. Let me go and get the hell up out of here. But baby, Chase chases him down to the airport, and he about ready to whoop his tail. He was like, why would you do this? And he told him, he was like, it was our dream. He was like, no, this was your dream. This was never my dream. Like, I told you what I was doing. I told you I was here. He was like, why would you do this to me? And he was like, well, I owe some money, some people some serious money in Vegas, and I need the money. You got to help me. Chase was like, oh, so this was just really about you. It was never about us. Baby, Chase left him there. Why, as he was leaving, the men was coming to come and get Paul. Paul gonna tell Chase, you gotta help me. You can't leave me here. You can't leave me here, baby. Chase looked at him. He put those sunglasses on and he rolled off. So Paul is gone. I don't know if we ever see Paul again, but we damn sure don't see him no time soon, honey. And that was pretty much that episode. So they were able to save the crop. So Chase is good. We're gonna see what happens next week, baby. With that being said, let me know what y'all think. Drop it in those comments. Peace.